Now we are going to install the servos. And your kit should come with a bag full of servo plates that just basically go over your servo, and screws that you put through the holes to connect your servos onto your helicopter. And one thing with the tail servo, the instructions aren't real clear. You can figure it out if you stare at the picture long enough, but the tail servo mounts with the servo horn closest to the tail of your helicopter. So we'll take and put our tail servo in just like this. In my case, the wires are coming out towards the back as well. So I'm going to go ahead, get those installed on there, and I will let you know if anything funky comes up. One thing to note is with the servo plates, you'll have two really long ones, and they go on the top of your two front servos here, and I guess that's just to keep the canopy away from your servo arms, which is kind of nice. So I'll go ahead and get those installed and let you know if I come across anything. I forgot to mention, you want to make sure you use Loctite on all your screws when you're putting in your servos. All of them go into metal. Even the tail servo has metal standoffs on there. So be sure and use Loctite on all your screws going into the servos and screw them into the helicopter. Okay, we got all the servos in now. The only thing I can suggest is if you don't have a rounded Allen wrench of some sort, like me, I got the Maverick hand tools. You're gonna have a heck of a time getting this bolt in way back here for the servo. So if you don't have a rounded tip on one of your Allen wrenches or hand tools, you're probably going to want to put your servos in before you put the motor in. Otherwise it's hard to get back in there. Even with a Allen wrench, it's hard to get the Allen wrench in there far enough in order to screw your servo in and screw your servo screw in. So that's my only suggestion. Other than that, easy enough. Everything went together fine. So next we will probably be putting in the ESC, and I think where I'm going to put that, haven't fully decided yet, but I really like the idea of putting the ESC as far back as possible. So I might actually end up putting it in the back part. You see there's kind of two different compartments here. I might put it back in this one and then put the Micro Beast on this side, on the side, and then put my receiver on the other side on the side. I just want to try and get as much weight in the back of the helicopter as possible, because then that allows me to use as big as battery on the front as possible, so I can get longer flight times. This helicopter has so much power from everything I've read anyway that the bigger the battery you can put on here, it really won't hurt your performance any. So I'm gonna actually try and go with the Volts 45C 4500 milliamp pack. I know the 4200 milliamp packs fit in here nicely, but I want to see if I can try and fit the 4500s in there. If not, I'll just use the 4200s. I mean, I'll still get 7 minutes of flight time on those doing mild 3D anyway. So we'll see. We'll see what we can do, how we can get the weight distributed. and go from there. So I'm going to try and get my ESC in there somehow and figure out where I'm going to put the receiver and where I'm going to put my micro beast, and then I will come back and go over it with you. So here's what I did electronics wise. As you can see, I got my ESC actually standing vertical in between the middle of the Gaui. It's right behind this the frames here, and I put my receiver on the back. I actually cut a little hole in this back plate here. Hopefully you can see that there. Just for my wires to come out. I don't like having wires coming out around the sides and stuff and all these wires. This way I can put all the wires nice and neat on the inside, have a nice little kind of loose strap just holding them in place so they don't go anywhere. It just makes everything a little neater. And as you can see, for my servo wires and my receiver satellite, I just have them running down the frames. The frames had nice little holes in them, so I could just zip tie right through the holes. And you'll also notice everywhere that I zip tied the wires to the frames, I actually put some Velcro around there, so that way it doesn't cut into the zip tie, doesn't cut into the wire. So that's about it from there. On the other side, you can see how I mounted the micro beast system, and I just put it on the side. I got it as perfectly parallel as I could. The wires are, there's just a little Velcro piece here holding those on. They're a little loose. You don't want your wires tight coming out of the micro beast because that could throw off the gyro inside there. And then again, just loosely caught on the bottom down here. And then the two servos on this side, the wires come down the frame, and I go into the frame here. And everywhere I go into the frame also, I put a little bit of Velcro in there, and then that way I don't have to worry about the frames cutting the wires, because that would be bad. So that's about it for the electronics. Everything fits nice and neat. I got as much weight in the back as possible so that way I can have a heavier battery on front and not mess up my center of gravity.